Hello. Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Janine Moggetman, as many of you know, and I'm a traveling teacher for the Hands for a Bridge program. And I'm welcoming you to this evening. Very glad to see all of you here. A little bit about the background of this project. In 2007, Roosevelt Hands for a Bridge hosted teachers and students from Oak Grove Integrated College for the first time. That was when I met John Harkin, whom some of you met this week, and as you know, he is the vice principal of Oak Grove College and a purveyor of not only sweets, but wisdom. While here, the group visited our teen health center and left with the goal that every new Oak Grove student would meet with the school counselor when they started at the school in order to normalize that relationship and overcome the stigma of asking for help, something we can all learn from. While here on that same first visit, news came of the loss of a young person in the Londonderry community from suicide. Mental health counselors at Roosevelt were essential to the processing of this pain and helping the students build a community of support in their own HFB group. The topic of suicide has been woven throughout our visits to Northern Ireland. I myself have visited Londonderry 10 times and consider it my second home. The beautiful city straddles the Foyle River, a tidal estuary with a fierce current. In Derry, taking one's life is often referred to as going into the river. There is a dedicated group of volunteers called Foyle Search and Rescue who patrol the banks of the river Thursday through Sunday nights and aid young people who find themselves, as we say, on the wrong side of the railing. This organization is made up of highly trained volunteers who are skilled in swiftwater rescue. During our most recent visit this past February, there was an active search going on for a young man whose body was later found. Foyle Search and Rescue provided closure for that family, and I hope you will consider supporting their efforts. There's a display outside in the foyer. Roosevelt High School has experienced the loss of 2 dear young people to suicide in the past 2 years. Drake was a bright 9th grader who was in my world history class, and Amara was a brilliant young woman known by many. Shortly after Drake's passing, our Hands for a Bridge group traveled to Londonderry, and attended a run-through of Blinkered, the play by Pat Byrne, which is a powerful drama about a 20-something young man in Derry who takes his own life. This play had an immediate and deep impact on both teachers and students, and we returned to Roosevelt knowing that the conversation about youth suicide and mental health must be given a high priority. The Roosevelt Intervention Team, the Roosevelt Student Health Council, and the Forefront Team have all worked to give us the tools to provide help and hope to those suffering from the pain of mental illness. This is why we consider ourselves so fortunate to have Pat Byrne with us in Seattle, thanks to the Northern Ireland Arts Council. Her presence here closes the circle and reminds us that art truly has the power to heal. I am reminded of a song by a singer from Northern Ireland who was shared with me by John Harkin, because the lines mean so much to us in this context. The song is called Elders of the Tribe, and the lines are, "Take care of your lovely young lives. It's all that you get. You don't get no more." So thank you for being here tonight. And now I'd like to introduce you to 2 of the Hands for a Bridge traveling teachers who've been to Northern Ireland with me and through many years of life, since one is my son, Michael Moggetman and Karen McDonald. We're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the initiatives that Roosevelt around youth mental health. Please welcome them.
Hi everyone, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Moggerman. So, a lot of the parade of people that you're going to see tonight are coming from different organizations or different groups or different little corners of the world where we're all working on similar issues, and this is a nice little crossroads for us. So I'm coming to you tonight, and I wear many hats, but the one I'd like to talk to you briefly about right now is my role as somebody on what's called the intervention team at Roosevelt High School. So, as Mrs. Moggerman said, after there were 2 young people who died by suicide in the last 2 years at Roosevelt, one of the big things that a lot of the teachers in the building looked at was, what can we do to not just be teachers who are here teaching our subjects, but who are here teaching our kids? What can we do to help educate and support the whole person? And so one of the things we did is we set aside a good chunk of money in our budget to form this intervention team, to develop initiatives to help kids with what you will all soon be hearing from the Seattle Public School District as social emotional learning. That's the mandate that's coming down, but we really found this important, and we wanted to get in ahead of this because it's something that we find incredibly valuable. And so the intervention team at Roosevelt is a team of teachers, administrators, counselors, mental health professionals in the building who all come together to think about what kinds of interventions or supports can we develop and deliver in our building to help make life more navigable for our young people, to help make it more manageable, to help them grow and prosper. And a big part of that is connecting the triangle of staff, students, and parents in being active participants in that growth and development, and developing practices that will help teenagers live healthy lives. So some of the things we've worked on to that end, I know that both Ms. McDonald and I are particularly passionate about the year-long mindfulness program that we've implemented at Roosevelt this year. We've worked with Ann Haller, who comes to us from the UW, to develop a year of curriculum where we did a different mindfulness lesson every week of the year. And students got to learn about their own neurobiology and how their brains work and how that intersects with their thoughts and feelings and how to create space for themselves to make healthier choices. The intervention team also helped roll out drug and alcohol education and help develop them, or find the money really, to have a drug and alcohol counselor in the building at Roosevelt at least once a week. And we also partnered with parents. We would have parent nights where we would, for example, we showed the movie Screenagers about the healthy and unhealthy use of electronics for teenagers, and that helped to instigate a discussion with parents about strategies to develop around healthy habits with electronics. So those are some of the kinds of things that the intervention team does. And so one of my other many hats is I'm also a traveling teacher with Hands for a Bridge. And I was fortunate enough to be in Northern Ireland the last several years, and fortunate enough to see Pat's play and how powerful an experience that was for the students. And so I was very enthusiastic and very thrilled that we were able to bring her here through the Northern Ireland Arts Council, because this work fits with our mission as the intervention team. The work that she was able to do in the classroom with students, and the work that's going to be showcased to you tonight, because we're here to have the discussion. And so one of the most powerful things for me was this year when we were in Northern Ireland after we saw Pat's play. I was talking with some students, and they were giving me feedback about just their experience of how they experienced the loss of the 2 students these last 2 years at Roosevelt. And one of the students said to me that, we feel like it just wasn't talked about. Like after their death, it was just kind of brushed under the rug. And I had to take a deep breath for a minute and set aside my ego, because from where I'm sitting, I'm thinking, man, I'm really working hard to make sure that doesn't happen. And I had to realize that if that's this student's experience, if this student has honestly felt that we have silenced it as a building, that's a huge problem. If there's even one student that feels that way in our building, it's a huge problem. So I'm excited to have this conversation that Pat has brought here with us. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Kara McDonald.
Good evening. I want to speak tonight about the role of the Forefront Committee, which kind of, like the Intervention Committee, works at Roosevelt. The Forefront Committee is a group of counselors, administrators, and health specialists at Roosevelt who've been working together with the expertise of Forefront from the University of Washington, an organization which works to prevent suicide. Our work with Forefront has helped us to improve our school's response plan, to train teachers, and to educate students and parents. And we're now in our second year of that work, where the focus has shifted from the school to outreach and specifically involving students and the community. We are especially proud of our Student Health Council, a group of Roosevelt students who are teaching their peers, using the Forefront Protocol to recognize and respond to peers in crisis. This year, the LEARN protocol has been taught to every 9th grade health student and each class that was involved in the Blinkard workshops, along with many other classes. I'd like to welcome the Teen Health Center's Nadia Novotny and the Student Health Council students who are here tonight to share their work with you. They're really here doing the work, involving other students, and helping us move forward as a school to open up the conversation.
Hey everyone, I'm Nadia. I work at Roosevelt School-Based Health Center, and I'm the advisor of the Roosevelt Student Health Council. This is a group of 8 students who spent the past year educating their peers on mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Kara and Grace are here with us tonight, and they will be giving an adapted version of the peer-to-peer training. I'll let them take it over.
Okay, so my name is Kara Rogan, and I'm a sophomore at Roosevelt High School. I'm here because I'm trying to play a part in breaking the stigma surrounding mental health and suicide.
I'm Grace Wilson. I'm a sophomore at Roosevelt as well, and I'm doing this to break the stigma surrounding mental health and offer resources to those who need them. So, as you all know, we've had 2 occurrences of suicide in the past couple of years. And so we're here because we feel that there's a need for more suicide prevention and general education on mental illness, well-being, and the stigma behind both. So just to reiterate, this presentation is adapted from Forefront's Teen Suicide Prevention, the Learn Steps training.
So, by the end of this presentation, we want you guys to be able to recognize warning signs, know how to listen well and what to say if your friend is struggling, how to help your friend and to help yourself, and feel comfortable talking about mental health issues and addressing some of the stigmas in our community.
So just to go over the basics, so most suicides are preventable. There is no type of suicidal person. I know that there are stereotypes, but people of any race, socioeconomic status, gender, sexuality, and life experience can be at risk of suicide. And suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death among teens aged 15 to 19. And if you're wondering what the 1st leading cause is, it's accidents in general. So we believe that we can play a role in preventing suicide by recognizing the warning signs and helping friends get help.
So why do teens consider suicide? Suicide is not necessarily about wanting to die as much as it's about wanting to end the pain. So suicidal thoughts enter the picture when a person's pain outweighs their ability to cope and the person believes the circumstances will not improve. So when combined with hopelessness, this pain can become unbearable and there can be no end in sight. Suicidal thoughts are complex and almost never come as a result of one singular thing, but rather multiple different factors.
So, how can you help as a friend, a family member, or an educator? So this training is focused on how to recognize the warning signs for suicide in a friend and then what to do and say.
So we're going to be using the acronym LEARN to teach these steps. So they are L, look for warning signs, E, empathize and listen, A, ask about suicide, R, remove and report the danger, and N, which stands for next steps. So we're going to start with looking for warning signs. And these can be things that you notice or behaviors or situations that you hear about, or they can be behaviors that you see.
So, looking for warning signs and feelings. These can include depression and or anxiety, anger and irritability, hopelessness, helplessness, and saying things like there is nothing I can do, and shame or humiliation. So untreated or improperly treated depression or mental illness is the #1 risk factor for suicide. So depression can swamp a teen's normal actions and reactions. It's a mood disorder that causes persistent feelings of sadness and a loss of interest. And also with this last bullet here, shame and humiliation can come from a result of many different things, including things like an abusive relationship or sexual assault or being bullied in school, feeling inadequate, just many situations like that.
Some other situations are loss of relationship, self-respect or status, death of a family member, friend or peer, or sudden unexplainable joy after periods of depression. So the reason why that last bullet point is there is because sometimes people believe that unexplainable joy can be an indication that depression has lifted, when in reality, sometimes it can be a result of someone deciding to end their life. This is because a person may feel a sense of relief that their pain will soon be ending, and this can be mistaken for depression lifting.
And finally, looking for warning signs and behaviors. These can include things like increased use of drugs and alcohol, saying or writing that they feel like a burden or a failure, giving away prized possessions, losing interest in activities that they usually enjoy, and saying things like, the world will be better off without me, or you'll miss me when I'm gone. So substance abuse is the #2 risk factor for suicide death after depression and mental illness because it decreases inhibition and increases impulsivity. And these warning signs will look different in everybody because everybody has a different way of portraying their feelings, different situations they may be in, and different behavioral reactions. So you notice these warning signs. So what do you do now?
So the next step is empathize and listen. So it may seem kind of uncomfortable to talk to your friend, but it's important to learn how to have these conversations, and there are important things to think about when you're having sensitive conversations with a friend.
So listening is extremely important. So being there to listen, even if what your friend is saying is hard to hear, and avoiding judgment and maintaining calm.
So these are some steps on how to listen. So first of all, devote your attention to your friend. Try not to use your cell phone while you're having a conversation, and try and maintain eye contact. Find the right space and time to have the conversation. Don't have this discussion in between passing period, and try and have an ability to sit down and really have that person open up to anything that they're feeling. Try and use welcoming body language and let your friend finish their thoughts, because if you interrupt them, then that may make the situation worse.
And some things you could say include, I'm worried about you, you're going through a lot, that must be really hard. I'm always here to listen, and I'm so sorry that you're going through this. So don't say things like, I've been there before, it's really not that bad, trying to minimize the situation, oh, you'll be fine. Remember your friend is going through a hard time and they just want to know that somebody is listening and somebody cares.
So A really important thing to remember is that you do not need to try and solve your friend's problems. You are considered a helping hand for your friend, and you are definitely there to help and support them or help get them the support that they need, but we really can't fix any problems in someone else's life because ultimately it is their life.
So the next letter in the acronym is A for Ask About Suicide. So sometimes teens think that asking or talking directly about suicide will get the idea in a friend's mind. So we're taught that asking doesn't plant the idea and it doesn't make it more likely that a friend will want to die. It does, however, give your friend a space to share what's going on.
So a good example of this is you get this Snapchat from a friend and you're concerned. So it says, sometimes you feel like you just don't want to wake up. So this is a really important time that you may want to talk to your friend about whether or not they're contemplating suicide. If this has been sent at 6 o'clock in the morning and they just don't want to get up for school and they haven't been exhibiting any of the warning signs, then this may not be that big of a problem. But if this was sent at 2 o'clock in the morning and your friend's never up that late or that early and they've been exhibiting other warning signs, then this could be a really important discussion that you might want to have with your friend. Ultimately, it is you're there to help them and talk them through whatever they're going through.
Okay, so asking the question. So asking the question doesn't cause suicide or for somebody to think about suicide. So we're going to give you an example of something you can say when asking about suicide.
So if your friend were exhibiting warning signs, maybe what you could start off by saying is, when you said the world would be better off without me, it made me wonder if you were thinking about ending your life. Are you? And that can really open up a discussion with your friend about anything that they're feeling, and it can help you get them help if they need it. Okay, so if your friend says yes to this question, please take it seriously and acknowledge that the pain your friend is in.
So the next letter in the acronym is R for remove or report the danger. So it may or may not be necessary in certain situations. If you know of, or your friend told you that they have a plan to kill themselves, it's important that you keep them safe and away from whatever they might try to use to kill themselves.
Yeah, so removing and reporting the danger is similar to what you do if your friend was drunk and they were trying to drive. You'd ask them to give you the keys and you'd get them help. So when a person is at risk of suicide, it's important they don't have access to those means that they could use to hurt themselves. And this can include items like guns or knives, but it can also include things like prescription medication. So keeping a person away from those dangerous means often can prevent them from attempting a suicide call.
So as teenagers in particular, it's absolutely not our job to physically remove these items from your friend's possession or your friend's home, but you may be in a position where you can report your consent to a friend's parents or another trusted adult who can help. Okay. So the last letter in the acronym is N for next steps. So what are your next steps?
So there are some direct resources that we can get to. At school, particularly at Roosevelt, we have the Teen Health Center and counselors. Teachers are specifically trained to help you. Any sort of coach or administrator or any other trusted adult that you can think of.
And outside of school, it can include parents or guardians, siblings, family, friends, your faith community, a therapist, or other trusted adults.
If it is an emergency and your friend is in a dire situation at the moment, 911 is your best friend and ultimately your best resource. And it's important that you report it as fast as possible. However, some longer-term resources. So there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and this is a hotline for teens that may be in distress. The crisis chat and crisis text line are different mediums that offer the same service as calling this lifeline. So if you are in some sort of distress situation, you can text someone if you don't want to wake anyone up, and it provides a safe resource. Another option is the Teen Link. So this is a phone line that's answered by teenagers, and they're trained by the King County Crisis Clinic. and this is open from 7 to 10 p.m. every day. The Trevor Lifeline and the Trans Lifeline are specialized resources for LGBTQ youth who may be in a crisis. And all of these resources provide and support individuals and they're trained to listen and empathize and help. So we recommend that you take a photo of this. I know that there are some kids here who might be going off to college next year, and ultimately having these numbers in your phone, even if they're not for you, could be really useful later in life. We hope you never have to use them.
So thank you for listening and attending this presentation, and we hope you feel prepared if the need arises. And here's Nadia again.
Thank you. So I'm excited to introduce Pat Burns. She's been working with Roosevelt High School students and staff for the past few weeks.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Thank you for that brilliant presentation. That was really, really good. Yes, I'm Pat Byrne. I'm the Artistic Director of Sole Purpose Productions, and we make theatre on social and public issues. We've been doing that for 20 years. As you heard, the recent production that we did was a play called Blinkered. And I've been working with the students for the past 3 weeks. We've been reading the play Blinkered, we've been discussing the issues in the play, we've been discussing the issues that affect the main character, Ryan, who's the young man who takes his own life. And we've looked at issues that could be affecting young people in Seattle, or might be affecting their mental health. And in this past week, I've worked with a much more focused group on developing what we're calling scenes of intervention. So the students have developed their own scenes, and we're going to show you the scenes of intervention. I'd just like to, if you just give us a couple of minutes just to set things up, and then we'll continue. So now we're set. I'd like to ask Amy Shipley to come up first. Amy Shipley, would like to come up here? Amy Shipley is a child and family therapist, and she's just going to say a few words about her work first.
Hi, thanks everyone for being here. As Pat said, I'm a child and family therapist. I work at an organization called Ryder, which is right up the street from Roosevelt, and I work with kids, ages 5 to 18 or even a little older, who are struggling with any sort of mental health needs that they might have. So I have been at Roosevelt working with students there as well actually since I was an intern, so for several years, I think coming up on 4. So yeah, that's what I do, and I like it a lot.
Thank you. I'd like to now invite these students to come up and take their seats up here. Thank you very much. So we're going to show the scenes of intervention to you, and then Amy is going to make comments on if this intervention, how it would be useful in a real-life situation. The first scene we're going to show you is a scene, it's going to be performed by Elliot and Marissa. This scene is it's taken from the play Blinkered. It's a monologue that the character Ryan delivers to the audience. So we're going to see his monologue first, and then we're going to play part of the scene again, and then we're going to see a scene of intervention. So, Elliot and Marissa, would you like to set the stage?
My name's Elliot. I'll be playing Ryan. The background of the scene is Ryan just got into a fight with his dad. His dad is pressuring him to get a job. Ryan's issue is he doesn't want to work at a dead-end job his whole life. He wants to play music. And this is directly after he got into a very intense fight with his dad. Marissa will be playing my sister Stella, and we'll see where that goes. This family would be better off without me. I'm just a burden. Get a job. Why don't you get a job? I just want to have choices. What's the point? You ever feel alone? Like really alone? Like no one gets you. That's how it is for me. I drag myself out of bed every day. Even going to band practice doesn't excite me anymore. I miss my granddad. He understood me. He was always there for me. I think about just going, you know? Just getting out of here. Out of this life. Out of this world. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just going to the store. Do you want anything?
Oh no, I'm great still, thanks.
Are you okay?
Yeah, good.
You sure?
Yeah, fine.
All right. See you soon.
Think about ways to go, how to get out, how I would do it, what would be fastest. If I did, you know, just go, just take my life. No one would care. Nobody would miss me. I'd be better off without me.
So that's a monologue from the play. We're going to play part of that scene again, and this time we're going to show an intervention by Stella the sister. So rather than Stella just coming in and saying, "Are you okay?" and leaving the room, she's going to come in and stay in the room and try to help the character Ryan. Thank you.
This family would be better off without me. I'm just a burden. Get a job. Why don't you get a job? We don't have choices. Really, what's the point? You ever feel alone? Like really alone? That's how it is for me. I drag myself out of bed every day. Even going to band practice doesn't excite me anymore. Yep.
Hey, I'm just going to the store. Do you want anything?
No, I'm great, thanks.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
All right. You know, you're getting really good at that.
Thanks.
Are you sure there isn't anything going on, Ryan?
Nah. No, it's just about stuff, you know.
You know, I'm here to talk whenever.
I don't know.
You don't have to keep things bottled up. I don't have all the answers. I can't fix everything, but I'm here to listen.
You sure it won't bother you?
No, what's going on?
Just... You know how Dad is. He's been yelling at me every day. I know I don't support this family, I get it, but I don't want to do nothing for the rest of my life. I want to play music. The band's not going anywhere. My girlfriend left me. I don't do shit. I just hang out with my friends and get drunk and come home and repeat, and it's... I don't do anything.
Ryan, have you ever thought about hurting yourself in any way?
I don't know.
Maybe we should have you see a professional.
Professional? I can't even connect with my own parents. Professionals doesn't care about me. They don't know me. What are they going to do?
Ryan, I care about you a lot, and I would be devastated if something were to happen to you.
I just don't know where to look. You think maybe you can help me?
Yeah, we can find someone together. You don't have to go through this alone. You can learn some skills to help you.
You sure?
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to ask Amy now to make comment on the